Hello, students. I hope you're having a good week. We're going to be talking about Module 9. This is emerging adulthood. An amazing time of life, such a powerful developmental stage. This is when we're going from adolescence to settling into adulthood. Okay. There's two main developmental tasks that are going on during this stage, which I'm sure you guys could name it, but career choice and also partnering with someone. Okay, so those are typically what we see during this age. Um, think about how much pressure that is. And I'm sure most of you are in this stage right now. And just trying to figure it out, trying to figure out what you want to do for a career, trying to figure out who you want to be with um and just kind of setting yourself up for the rest of your life, which that's a lot of pressure, right? But it also is an incredible time of life as well. This isn't a time when people can focus a little more deeply on their themselves, right? They're not quite to that level. Well, most people, I won't say all, but a lot of people don't have children or dependents. They're not settled into a career yet. And so though it can be a little, there's a lot of pressures, there's also a lot of time to focus on what things you like want, what you care about, who you want to be with, those sort of things. Um, so just a little bit clinically, I actually have worked with several emerging adults. And the biggest, like the most common theme I hear with emerging adults is that they're very stressed or very worried about making the right decisions. And that makes a lot of sense because their decisions are going to be really impactful. But sometimes they get into a paralysis of like, what if I don't pick the right career? Or what if I don't pick the right person to be with? Okay. And that can sometimes be very crippling. Um, and then you throw into the mix if this is an individual who may be struggling with obsessive compulsive disorder, right? That they're just kind of in this obsessive mode of like, what if I don't pick the right thing? Um, which to that point, that's another thing that's going to show up in emerging adulthood. You have certain disorders that will intensify or even present during emerging adulthood. So things like obsessive compulsive disorder, schizophrenia, things like that. Okay. And so where something may not have been present earlier in their, sort of uh, adolescent life now starts to become present. Okay. Um, and so getting back to that point of, when I have someone come in and just feel crippled by this weight of making these huge decisions, um, one is to help them sort of formulate their values. Okay, what things do they really care about? What things, um, you know, what things matter most to them? Okay, when we're picking a partner, what are their non-negotiables, right? So think of things like I want a partner who's kind. I want a partner who is responsible. I want a partner who you know, who is able to hold down a job or just sort of those non-negotiable things. As well as with career. Okay. I heard this a while back from another therapist, and I wish I could remember the name of that therapist, but she said, sometimes we get so focused on making the right choice that we forget about making the choice right. Okay, what does that mean? Right? What it means is we have more control than we think we do, right? So whatever choice you make, whether, especially in career, whether you go into social work or you decide to teach or you decide to become a business owner or whatever it is, right? There's those things that are controllable in your life. You can show up as a really good student right now. You can show up as a really great um, social worker, or you can put your heart into a business, right? And then there's other things that we can't control, right? We might not be able to control the outcome that we're hired at a very specific agency, right? Or that, like with a business owner, that their business just takes off and does amazingly well. So some of those things we can't control, but we can control how we show up and how we want to create change. And do we want to be on time, right? Do we want to get our documentation in as a social worker in a timely manner? Um, do we want to be able to research and learn and know sort of the ins and outs of what our clients are going through? Okay, so if you find yourself in sort of that paralysis mode, just know that you do have controllables. There are things that you can do right now, today, to continue to set yourself up for good. Okay. Okay. Let's go over your module real quick. Let me share my screen. Pretty easy peasy. Do your module overview, read your chapter this week, and the only assignments that you have is this quiz, or sorry, the quiz and then the discussion board. Okay. Pretty straightforward and simple. As always, let me know if you have any questions or concerns. I'm in your corner. I want you to do well. So reach out to me via Canvas messages. Um, and until then, uh, enjoy the week, enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.